up the water line, you got some citizens that live back up in that area. The only thing you have to worry about is that he's looking at a cost factor. So all these things are already done. And then check with our city manager and check with for these project costs and all of that. Now we got money, we get a budget every year, and we ought to have roads and streets in our budget every year. For us looking for money, we ought to have this money. I think we got about a $52 million budget, so to say, versus what the county has and all of that. And these little streets and little roads, go ahead and get them done. Stop kicking the can down the road. We know we got major problems. We know we got infrastructure problem. We know that. I've been knowing that. I've been here 37 odd years, and heard some of the same thing. We need to get this done, work with the county and all of that, and nothing gets done. But sometime, instead of getting the whole pie, get a slice of the pie, and then move from there to the next until you get the whole pie. That's my understanding of it, and be my fight for this here, because our citizens need to see some improvements in some areas. You can't get everything. We know we got about a $10 million project to take care of this entire city for us, flooding and roads and everything else, mainly for flooding. So, but let's just move forward to this here, councilman. Those are 4 little short streets. You know, you're talking about a road.
I have one question to ask you. With these roads, how does that fit in a comprehensive plan? Have you looked over the entire thing of how this would fit, fall within? We all are up here representing the city and the city as a whole. How does those streets, paving those streets, fall into the plan of the city?
Well, the plan of the city, everything within this city limit is the plan of the city, and it'll fall into that plan. But rather than let these things go by for 40, 50 years, I mean, coming down to Live Oak Earth since 1972, and there's been no change in some of these streets for its paving and all that. I know them very well, but all that fits into the plan. But instead of begging for the whole pie, begging Tallahassee to give you $100 million, let's get a slice of the pie, get that taken care of, move to the next project where we make progress in this entire state, all right, because we all got road problems in all of our districts. We make progress in our entire city. We move piece by piece. If we don't have the complete $100 million, I'm just throwing numbers out there. Let's do it little by little and get things done. Because I think it's better fit for Tallahassee, what I've been told from Tallahassee and all that, instead of actually about $5 million, if you ask for $750,000, you might get that. I got a project now, I think it's still on the books for 2025, repaving Hamilton, and myself, Mr. Session, and Mr. Lee, we've all looked at that, even DOT out of Tallahassee, about that project, what has to go on in order just to put pavement on Hamilton. And we know that Hamilton Street is when flooding does come, then you can still get through with Hamilton. You have the direct traffic, but you still get your traffic through with that. So that is a major artery, although it's a bypass for 129. And so, I hope I answered your question, but let's just do some things and then show some good measure to our citizens. You know, I mean, they're hard-earned money and all that going towards these things, but they never see any results. Those type of things I'm addressed with as a councilman as I ride around, not just in District 1, but all over the city, and I'm addressed with those things. And I try to have an answer. If not, I'll go back and bug city manager and public work director, planning and zoning, because I try to give our citizens a fair share, a shake on what's going on.
I know on those streets, are there any water mains that have pipes that have broken? Or no, none.
You're not gonna
So you see where I'm going with this right here?
Hold on.
Is the broken pipes I get the call almost every day about broken pipes, about water oozing from, just like they're just beginning to get it in their area. But over in District 2, I think we had 18 broken pipes one day. So I understand about, let's give the citizens something, but we do have to take care of our infrastructure.
In your district, it's being looked at and addressed. We see it. We got writing right here what's going on in your district and one of the other districts. All right, I cannot answer your question about a busted pipe. That's why I got a public director. He can answer if there's been a busted pipe on 4th Street and some of these other streets. But there are the low cost of fixing and paving because you have to do any major infrastructure on these streets. You might just have a water line running bypass there or septic sewer or sewer lines or whatever else. But those are feasible. Those are short-term goals that we should be able to meet and get done. We will probably always have busted water pipes all over this city. You don't know. So that's how I can only answer that. Now, Mr. Lee want to cover and answer about a pipe on 4th Street and Lyle and Mussing?
I don't think that's necessarily necessary. I just want to make sure that we keep on task here and that we're on still talking about your item.
Yes.
And while I agree with everything you're saying as far as, you know, getting little small projects done and those type of things, I'm also a realist in that there's a certain way that you have to go about doing this. I would love to be able to say, yeah, let's just go pave, 3 roads in your neighborhood, your district, mine, everybody's up there, but that's not feasible. And if it is feasible, it's got to be done in so far in advance, as you know, and it has to be budgeted. And that's what I'm trying to, remind you, is that you have been a part of 2 budget sessions in setting budgets. Okay, I've been on 2 and you've been on 2. So the opportunities have been there. So this is a topic that's probably not going to get fixed here tonight.
Well, let me beg to differ on that for us, because Mussey, Lyle, and Spruce have been brought up in these budget hearings.
And were they budgeted for, yes or no?
And well, things get changed. I'm not going to go into that because
Well, the
things
fact
get
is
changed.
they were not.
Things get changed so much when
I
you
deal
get
with
to
facts, and the
when
facts
you get to
are-
one. Well, I'm going to deal with facts too now.
No, you're dealing in
No,
false.
because I know what we've done, and then when we get to finalization, something has been changed. When we talk about budget. All right, I want to go back over that track.
You voted to approve the budget,
I want to go
yes
back
or
over
no?
that track again.
Did you
No,
vote to approve the
I did not
budget,
vote.
yes or no?
No, I was the only one that substantially didn't even vote on it.
Mr. President, could I say?
But anyway, no, let me finish this up. Let me wrap this
The
up.
mayor has
Let
the
me wrap this up. No,
Mayor
Mayor
has-
does not.
floor.
I am,
Yes, sir, Mayor.
my agenda item, that's what proceeds now. Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, but let me finish up. Now, being the mediator, being the cool head and all that, because don't have to even get to this point. I'm making points and all that. All right, so now let's table that. Let me finish up with this here, and then you can pretty much say what you want to say. I'm sorry.
Well, thank you for that.
No, I'm not through.
Mr. Jefferson.
I'm not through. Sir?
Mr. President, just let me say this. I mentioned earlier about roads and paving, and something's got to be done. And I agree with Mr. Jefferson 100%. But it has to be done by priority. And I think a workshop is in order. If you start in January, you'll have time to prepare some kind of a comprehensive plan, set aside money, and then in budget hearings and talks in the summer, you can apportion or budget for those items. There are streets in our city, as the folks here well know, and I think Mr. Lee told me the other day that it costs $1 million a mile. A quarter of a mile is 1,320 feet. That's $250,000. A half a mile is 500,000. So it's not cheap. We have some roads that are traveled by thousands of people, cars, on a daily basis that are falling apart. We have some roads that are traveled by dozens of cars. In my opinion, I think it would be well worth the time and investigation. We have had a study done a number of years ago. I think probably the study is, even though it's a number of years old, is probably fairly current in regard to quality of, George, you remember that study was done? It identified the roads. I think there's 70 nearly roads in the city. If you did every one of them, not counting the infrastructure, $70 million. There is not $70 million out there to pave roads in Live Oak Park. So this is a topic for discussion. I agree with
Mr.
you.
Mayor.
I agree with you 100%, Mr. Jefferson.
I understand
It's a
that.
topic for discussion.
I agree with you.
And that there should be a workshop,
Mr. Mayor,
in my opinion.
let me say this here. I mean, we workshop. All right? I've heard some of this before I got on this board about some things. If you ask our city manager and our public works director, I go to them and talk about how much will it cost for this. We sit down, we talk. We got water management involved in some of these areas and talk about how much the project might run. I know it costs $1 million a mile for road paving.
You actually, sir, said $45,000 just a few moments ago. If you want to check the
Hold on.
record, you said $45,000 to pave, I believe it was Spruce.
No, Window Weedle. First of all, you're wrong. It costs that much. The budget, the bid went out, and the gentleman got the bid for $45,000. All right, for Window Weedle. That don't have anything to do with Spruce or anything else. Myself and the public work director and Mr. Session, we've sat and we've talked about these projects, along with we got more water management out there to look at some of these projects, especially on Mussey, about the water buildup and all of that. So don't listen to the whole thing. So now, Mr. Mayor, I appreciate you and all of that, and we know it costs a lot of money. I shouldn't have to be. These are small projects. These are things that have been looked for and looked at. It always go see the city manager. I've done that. You're not there when I do that. You can't be there when I do that, because it's council versus one-on-one with those guys there, not all the council, because we break sunshine law. So I know what I do, and I know who I talk to, and I know how to get information. I gather up information. I do call Tallahassee and everywhere else to get information. I even call up some paving crews. Some of them might cost for a project.
Telling you $45,000
All of that.
is their line.
I'm telling you what it costs for Window Weedle.
$45,000.
It costs 45. If I'm wrong, then somebody correct me. But I was told that the bid went out for $45,000. That was before I got on the council.
That was a Scott grant.
We're not going, well, whatever it was. Anyway, if I'm wrong, beg to differ. But anyway, legwork is being done, talking to the right people, but let's stop kicking the can down the road. That's my only thing. You agree with me and all of that. Yeah, we got other things going on and all of that. We got 100% of things going on. But let's try to solve one thing without letting everything else go to waste. We've been talking about, Elverson Street and Duval. The last 15, 20 years I've been coming to these city council meetings, sitting out that ordinance out there. Some of you was not even on the board.
With your item?
That, we're talking about roads and streets.
Are you, that it? Are you done? I'll give you all the time that you need.
Well, if you do that, if you want to do that, then you would be interrupting me. That's what I'm saying. Now, we can move on. But,
Never mind. Ms. Williams, I promise you're going to get your 3 minutes to talk.
no, this is an agenda item.
An added agenda item.
It's there.
It
You
was that
approved
important,
it.
yes.
You approved it. Thank you. All right, let me look at some of these other ones. I think that's going to be it.
Go ahead, Ms. Williams. Yes, ma'am. You got 3 minutes, Ms. Williams.
I don't think I'm gonna need 3 minutes. I'm Linda Brown Owens Williams. And I just want to give you 2 minutes on that, what he's talking about. To Councilman Jefferson, my advice to you is to go back and look into some of the minutes, previous minutes that we had. We budget for those streets to be paved in our minutes. When you
Say
have
that
to-
again now? We did what now?
We went through, and when we were going through,
Uh-huh.
we decided the streets that we're working on, that what needed in your district, you bring them to your board, right? You have your workshop, you bring them to your board, and then you would place it, ask for it, so it would be onto your budget, because it takes 2 to 3 years in order for to see anything that's the progress from it. So it's not just like if you're going to ask for money today, that it's gonna, your streets are gonna be paved with next year and the next year. There's a process you have to go through. And, hold on, okay,
That's her time.
okay, and then you talk about, you talk,
I understand that.
I asked for a 5-minute recess. Can I get
You
a
can ask
motion
for
for
a
a
10
5-minute
if you want.
recess, please?
I make the motion for second.
Thank you. 5-minute recess.